water sewer. Change it, yeah.
I don't know if they go up or
I think they do.
Oh.
Well, they can. I must just be sitting.
You're just tall.
Not the application as much as the cover letter and plan show me. The more you can show on the plans where it deviates from the old plans, that makes it easier. I can whip them around for them. Alright, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. There aren't too many details. Only tie-ins at the road, they wanted to kind of funny.
Yeah.
Putting it where we so I just had a people location of the pipe saying
Won't move too quick.
Take a highlighter and say, this is where you can, shitty like that. You just,
And share.
Brian will go over it, everybody, the other one, everything will be good.
But they should be up on the screen.
yeah. Plans next Wednesday.
So do you think we should read the SHPO, the original SHPO letter into the record, and then
And then I just got.
our letter, and then the latest SHPO response, and then the
We
application?
keep up with it. I was putting them together.
Just to keep it going?
No, I'm just, certain things like,
I'll try to summarize and
Yeah.
then I'll let you just jump in where you think.
okay.
Okay.
And of course, we have a long form seeker, which we're not gonna,
No.
no, nothing.
Yeah, right, I know.
Without the rest of the more information. Okay.
Alright.
Okay. If we can all rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Call the meeting to order for the City of Plattsburgh Planning Board meeting, Monday, March 26, 2018. I have item number 1, which is approval of the January 22nd, 2018 and the February 26, 2018 regular meeting minutes.
February, Bill Ferris isn't here. He would need to, no, we do 3 out of 5, or do we know if we're 5 yet? We're not 5 yet, right? For sure?
I don't have the official.
I don't think we can approve these February, because we don't really know that we're 3 out of 5
People that are here can vote on it, not
yet, for sure.
like me.
Okay.
So February could wait. So Bill's, we have the 4 of us here, okay? But January we could do it, because we have the 4 of us are.
Okay.
So that would be my recommendation. Yes on January, but no.
Anybody else have any other comments?
No comments?
Okay, if so, then we'll,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the January 22nd Planning Board regular meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
okay. No other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. And we will hold the February meeting minutes until we have
Right body.
confirmation on the board
Yep.
or the right people here. Okay. Item number 2. Planning Board item number 2018-01. This is for 64 to 70 US Oval. We do have a long form seeker with the application. It's a historic site review to replace existing single pane windows with energy efficient replacement windows. The applicant is Marilyn Larkin and the plan developer is Rick Perry. And Rick is here today and present
Present.
your application.
After lengthy discussion with the board, I really am thankful that the board has taken an approach that you're looking to work for the public's best interest and providing guidance and leadership when it comes to projects like this. One, to preserve the building, which is our intent, but also to help support a quality living environment for the residents, maintain the historic value of the property. We're consistent in our goals, and we seek your guidance and advice as to the best way to proceed with this project. Some of the recommendations that I think we've discussed bringing a design professional on board and historic preservation specialist is great advice and to help us achieve that goal in that direction. We'd like to take another month, maybe two, to acquire the services of the individuals that we spoke of, and hopefully we can have a presentation that will help justify to SHPO and to your charter what you're required to hold as a standard.
Okay.
Rick, could we make sure that we get, I'm sure that back in 16, there was a letter that says the Larkins authorize you to sign everything, to do
Yes.
everything. Can we just get a copy of that or an updated letter from
Absolutely.
Maryland to add to the file to perfect the application saying you have the right to apply?
Absolutely.
And as we had discussed earlier, I think we are not going to address the seeker because we need more information. So there's no point in reviewing the seeker until you get this information from these specialists that will add to what we're trying to decide. Okay, so no seeker review tonight, no decisions tonight. And you can certainly, for the record, describe the moisture problem a little bit, just so it's on the record for tonight, even though it's in the application. And your remediation things that you've done already in the last, well, 2 years, year and a
Okay.
half, okay, if you don't mind.
Yeah, the street numbering of the building is indicative of the number of buildings that you actually see as one contiguous structure. There are 4 separate buildings that are connected with party walls being theoretically a property line separation. Each of these buildings contained 15 residential units on 4 floors. In the center of the structure was a singular heating plant that originally fed the entire building. Each building has encroachments that impede each of the floor levels within the stairwell, which is completely encased, and the elevator shaft, which goes through the roof. Our problem being that originally when these were converted from office structures to residential structures is that one, there were ventless fireplaces installed in some of the units on the interior core of the unit where they didn't have an exterior wall
To vent through.
to
Right.
vent through as a D-vent or a
Right.
direct vent. The accommodation in a single concrete structure that we have of air exchange, when you start applying living conditions, cooking, breathing, showering, you may not get as great of exhaust or exchange of ambient air as what you would like, or as frequently as you would like. So one of the things that we did per the board's recommendation is put humidistats in and have our exhaust air exhausting more frequently as humidity
Rises.
would engage them to do. It is one method. Trying to tighten up from the exterior some of the air encroachments that we have from the storm window to the interior window, which condensation's forming where we have that cold infiltration meeting moist, warm air in the interior. So through exhausting and through trying to seal some of the cracks and encroachments, we think we've reduced it somewhat, but it's still not sufficient to completely eliminate the moisture in the wood frame that's there. In addition, the original structure has very large windows like you see here in City Hall, that to create lift assistance on the sides of the windows, you have these counterweight pockets that counterweight assist the window, but they also weren't insulated.
Right.
And there's, you know, direct contact with the interior of that space to the exterior. So I don't know which pictures that you have, but some of the pictures will identify
Could you get some of those pictures up on the
excess
screen?
water and
So,
moisture
The frozen-
in windows.
is this
Yeah.
mold
Frozen
on
water
that?
on the windows,
Is
that
that
one?
mold,
Yes.
and they're sideways.
Couple buildings.
She'll flip it around for you.
You change it over time.
We'll get some
Screw it up.
pictures here so everybody can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So you have to look
You
at that
get
one sideways.
sideways.
That's a puddle on the windowsill.
Yeah.
If you need
If you flip it
orientation
to
to
the
what
left.
that's showing.
Yeah.
Good pictures, boss.
Right.
No? Doesn't want to
Go,
cooperate?
Jody.
If it's a
have to-
PDF, it probably won't.
Right.
It's page down, Jody.
Yeah. There's a rotate thing up at the top, or not? Yeah, well, it's sideways, guys.
Right, you just have to,
Imagine.
That's the last photo?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Rick, just tell me you work for Gabe.
So this is a building that you all probably know, right? It's on the oval of the old base next to the community gym. If you've been to Oval Brewery, which might be a reason that you would go that
There we go.
That direction.
Yeah.
then you've seen this building. It's a big apartment complex, and it's a really beautiful old building on the oval of the base. It's
Right click.
Right click.
Closest to the lake, the side closest to the lake.
It's on the bike path. It is, well, and we've talked about air quality issues, right? And interior air quality issues. And that's where we are here. We've got humidity that's starting to build up and create mold problems on the insides of these old windows.
Page down, guys. There you go.
So I think, Rick, you summarized the sort of pre-discussion in our pre-meeting in regards to the review of this being a prior application that you know, the city had initially, or the planning board had initially had a response in regards to overall evaluation of the window, or further evaluation of the windows with some specifications and details. In addition to that, there was some letters, a letter from SHPO in review of the initial application, which further detailed some recommendations and outlined some of the city's agreements with SHPO under the programmatic agreement for the Oval. And I think the you know, the idea of bringing on a design professional along with perhaps some further assistance with
arch.
Arch will be helpful in finalizing the application. With that said, I think housekeeping-wise, we have assigned a new application number to this.
Yes.
Seeing
That's why I
that-
was suggesting we get a new approval for you to represent on the application, because it's not the old application, it's a new number.
Yeah, in speaking with Adam, the fact that under the previous application, you had a 7-member board,
Yep.
and some of the composition is different,
Mhm.
that it would be a good idea that we start from scratch. And hopefully, we can all be included in the correspondence, because some of it I didn't receive. I think it went to Larkin's office. So,
I think ultimately, if you can coordinate with Adam and Jody to get copies of everything that we have in front of us here, which
Sure.
comes out of that prior application, you know, it'll all become part of the new.
Adam, can I ask you a Chris system question? When we have correspondence like this, does it automatically just get uploaded to Chris so that if it's part of the application and part of the correspondence, it's there and available, so that if he logs into Chris and he knows the project number, he can see it?
If he's an authorized contact, I think.
Can't we make sure he is? I would
I'd
think.
have to go in and, I wasn't the one to submit it, so I
Yeah.
need to find the submission number. It was probably done under Kevin, so get
Yeah.
it transferred to me.
Yeah, I would just think that'd be the easiest way, because then you'd always be able to, anything that they had said or done or made an opinion about the project would be there. So,
I think, obviously, the city's open to helping assist coordination-wise, but obviously there's been changes with departments and everything else since this original application. You know, anything that you're, you know, when you bring on your design professional, any assistance that they can give with coordinating, this probably would be helpful
Absolutely. Yeah.
to move, once again, to help move your application along.
Yeah, I mean, we want to preserve the structures as they are the best we can, and the deterioration that you're looking at certainly isn't meeting that objective.
Mhm.
But again, you know, I've got to thank you for, you know, making this process, you know, a community benefit impact. And, you know, without the working relationship with, you know, the general public and boards like this, and the communication, it's the only way it's going to work for everybody.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Anybody else on the board have any other questions, comments? If not, I guess
I think we could
entertain.
just table the application
Motion.
pending more information, really.
Mhm.
That's where we are.
Based
Okay.
on the recommendations.
Yeah.
At this point, I would see it as a tabled, once again, a tabled application, probably no further letter or anything. Probably meeting minutes suffice in what we've discussed here.
That would be.
And
good.
getting copy of, once again, the previous application material that
Yeah,
you didn't get copies of.
yeah,
That-
we'll get it.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion regarding Appeal 2018-01. Oh my goodness, number one. That we are tabling this pending further information from your experts, and that expert opinion will be supplied to us along with, worked out with SHPO, and with no time limit on this tabling. This is, you need to, it's in your interest to have it happen as fast as possible.
Second.
Okay. I don't have any further comment?
Well, it's in the minutes, but it should probably be in the motion, that I think one of the most important pieces of information we need is the letter authorizing you to represent.
Yes,
The
that too.
owner.
That just.
Right, which we got in the minutes,
Per-
but probably
Perfecting
needs to be
perfecting
there.
the file. So I amend
Yeah.
my motion. Do you, John, do you give us a second for my amended motion?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay, there's no further comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
We're good.
thank
Did
you.
just hear back from Sylvia, we are officially a 5-member board.
We're a 5-member board. We can go back to the,
Okay.
the other thing, okay?
Well,
I think we can
I guess-
technically.
Minutes?
Thank you, Rick.
It was, we're formally five.
I guess we'll go back to the
February
February meeting
minutes, which I think I have here, this pile.
Take care, Rick.
I don't know where they are. They're in my pile. Hold on.
I've got it.
Okay, so February minutes, the members present were James Abdallah, Bill Ferris, Marissa Gilbert, Kurt Gurvich, and 3 of those people are here tonight. So therefore, those 3 can vote on approving those minutes, because 3 out of 5 makes it work. Okay? So I'm making a motion that we approve the February 26th, 2018 meeting minutes.
Oh, a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye, we're good.
Okay. February meeting minutes are,
What did I miss? Anything else?
well,
So we probably should keep all of this, right?
I would
Save
say
it,
so.
as opposed to just throwing it away.
I would say so, if everybody wants to.
Would be
keep
the
a copy
conservative
of
way to
the-
do it.
Okay, so who has a question about what we just didn't do? Okay. What the situation was, 1.5 years in 16, they came before us and basically wanted to use vinyl windows. And with SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office input, who said these windows are very important, you probably shouldn't do that. We sent them back to come back with an inventory. In other words, how many of the windows, because some of the windows had been changed by the Air Force, okay? And weren't historic anymore. Some were changed by the owner at some point, sort of without permission, perhaps. We're not really sure of timeframes, et cetera. And so in a sense, the whole matter sort of just got dropped. But they did consult someone, but we have no proof of that consultation here tonight. So that's why we're asking, can we get that consultant, that professional historic review consultant back in, get a written recommendation of what they think. Can they be rehabilitated? Can they not be rehabilitated? If they can't be, what will be the best replacement window? That's what we're looking for. The best for everybody, that we want to maintain our historic integrity, but people can't live with mold, okay? And it isn't getting any better. And as he said, it's very, very hard with this kind of a building to suck the moisture out of the building. It's very hard to just get that exchange of air. So these people are still living with mold. It's a year and a half later. That's where we are.
And I just want to, if Kurt, I don't know if you're going to give your class this letter from SHPO, but the element in this letter that is causing us to make him go through all these loops is what they're listing is the fact that the windows are a character-defining feature of the building. And that's really the critical factor, because our job, because it's a special district that is a historic district, our job is for the citizens of Plattsburgh to try and maintain the historical character of that sort of as much as we possibly can. And so this is the sort of the state authority on that fact, telling us the age and style of the building, which is considered to be, where is it, a colonial revival style building, that the windows, the way they look, is very important to the historical integrity of that building. And so that's what we're bound by. So this letter would be useful for you to have a look at, because that's really why we're making them jump through all this. And previously we had training for the board, because we have to do professional development training every year. We'd had, I can't remember what ARCH is, the acronym is for
Adirondack Architectural Heritage. And I know it's kind of weird that it's...
Yes, so it's a local company that specializes in historical architecture, and they actually came and did a training with us on a variety of things. But one of the things that he talked about was the rehabilitation of old wooden windows versus replacement windows, and the value of them, both in terms of the historical integrity of a building, but also this purpose they serve for buildings for this very issue, like maintaining or preventing moisture problems, and the fact that replacement windows actually do not last as long as even old windows like the ones in this building, which are about to be redone. We just got a grant to work on not all the windows, but many of the windows in this building. Instead of replacing these, they're going to rehabilitate them, because it actually lasts longer in the life of the building.
So, I mean, you all do an amazing job of teaching this class. I don't really need to be here. But so, what we learned is in that training, right, is that the windows truly are part of the character-defining elements of a building. So if you look at these windows, the glass is rippled, right? And you look out and all the lights and things coming through them look a little bit shimmery.
And the muntins are nice and thick.
And the what are nice and thick?
Muntins, that's what the things that hold the panes of glass are muntins.
And the muntins are thick. So that wouldn't strike you as anything very important, but when you start to think about the history of the building, and then you find out that ripply window is 200 plus years old, and then you start to think, wow, right, if we just replace those with regular glass that was clear, that would be a significant difference. Now, the building that we're talking about on the base doesn't have the ripply windows, but you start to realize that, wow, the way the window looks and the material it's made of is pretty significant to what makes that building important. And these buildings on the base that we're looking at were built, we have the date somewhere.
This one's 1934 that I'm talking about. It's one of the youngest buildings. Most of the rest of them are 1890s on that.
Yeah.
on that video.
They're definitely significant looking and historical buildings. But restoring the windows is believed to often be more expensive than just replacing them with vinyl. Now, that's not always the case,
Right.
we've learned. That sometimes the restoration over the life of the window is much more cost effective, but that's not the common belief. So we have lots of applicants that come in and want to replace old historic wooden windows with new vinyl windows, which changes the character and doesn't alleviate the problems that come with
Right.
the older windows.
Kicks the can down the road to the next owner, or 20 years down the line, or 10 years down the line, they're back doing the same.
So SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office, is an office at the state level that gives a recommendation. They're historic preservation professionals. They've said, restore the windows, use the wooden ones. We have a local historic preservation organization that has said, restore the windows, use the old ones. And then we have an applicant that says, we want to replace them with a new product.
So we'll see. We're going to wait and see, and I imagine it probably will not be at the next meeting. I don't think he'll be able to get a turnaround for the next meeting, but probably the meeting after that, which I think you might be gone, gone home.
And then he will come back for that.
But again, we're on video.
But you can listen, right? You
Yeah.
in your spare time, you can tune into this
You can tune
excitement in another
and
couple
watch
of
the
months.
meeting. Yes.
Question, I'm confused on how the moisture, like what's the deal with the moisture from the windows?
Well, the thing is, what people, of course, as showering, cooking, everything, they give off moisture, and actually, it's counterintuitive. If he wants to replace the windows and put a tighter window in, which a vinyl window, if you fill in all the space for the weights that are on the sides, and you put a vinyl window in, you got a tighter fit, and you actually have less air infiltration, and they're going to have a bigger moisture problem. That's why we're asking him to both further address the moisture problem, which is just people breathing, because it's a
And showering for half an hour
showering
at a
and,
time.
and boiling spaghetti on top of the stove. Think of the clouds of steam when you boil the pot of
It's a
spaghetti.
building that was never intended for those uses,
Yeah.
right? It's an
Yeah.
office building that's now apartments, so it's got
Yeah.
showering and cooking and all these things.
Plus is-
Propane inserts.
Yes,
And-
and the gas that we was talking about, the
Ventless.
gas stoves.
Ventless.
Ventless
Ventless
fireplaces.
fireplaces give off moisture.
Yep.
They say ventless, but the idea is you really sort
It
of
vent-
need to
what
vent
it does
them.
is it vents into your living space instead of
Yeah.
out a chimney.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
It
it's
adds
moisture.
moisture. Combustion lets it off.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you all familiar with what the weights in windows look like? What he was talking about in terms of air exchange? Because if you're not, you may not understand how big an issue this is. Big windows like this, the inside of them have either, if it's really old, they have ropes and metal weights inside the frame of the window. So
Where you
there's a
can't see it.
hole that's routed alongside each side of the window into the, basically sort of into the wall in order to counterbalance that window, which means that you can't ever get a complete seal around the window because the cold air comes in that routed space and right around the edges of the window. So all of these big windows in any of these places have a very convenient cold draft that comes in around them all the time. And that's why people think that replacement windows are better in terms of
Because they seal up
sealing,
that
right?
pocket.
They don't have those in them. They have tension that keeps the windows up. So
Yeah.
if you ever have a chance to look at these, if you open a window like one of these, you'll see there's a routed hole on either side of the window about that high for a window this big or bigger. It's about that. It's probably about that wide from front to back, letting cold air in.
And when the weights don't work, what a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, old house and the weights don't work, that's when you have to have a stick to
stick.
hold the window up.
And if you move the stick and your hand gets in the way,
Yeah,
you can
Yeah.
get stuck in a window. It happened to me one time. You're stuck in a window.
That's just when the windows get painted shut.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, paint them
That's
shut. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Are we good?
So moved.
All in
Second
favor?
it.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I did.
Okay,
Or
well, who knows? She says she did. Okay. Okay, good enough for me.
That was a good explanation.
Students, hang out for just a second so that I can record you're here, so you get credit. I'm just gonna run down